Okay, so I've been very, very excited for this moment to have this man here. Not only is he a great father, a great man, I see what he's doing with his job, with his kids, where he's been, what he's doing now. He's been building brands since 1992, some of the biggest brands in the world. This guy has Supermax. He works at Cookies, Vibes. You were in Joker clothing brand.
Yep.
Young and Reckless.
Famous, the hundreds, Hilfiger.
All of it, man. All the best, all the best. And this guy has had came from some really dark times, and he's doing nothing but spreading light. He's educated me on a few things, and we're just always going back and forth with good things to help each other be better fathers, better men. And thank you for being here, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me, Jerry.
A pleasure, bro.
Really, man.
So I've been excited because ever since we connected on the internet, which it's a blessing, bro.
Absolutely.
We've just been like, we're on the same level. Like we've been through some crazy stuff, both of us. And then we just like at this point in life, we're both at a time where we want good for our kids.
Sure.
We want good for others and for ourselves and for the world.
Absolutely.
So what built this man, bro? How was your childhood? Let's start. Can we start there?
Yeah, absolutely. I have, I have a Jewish mom and a Sicilian father. So, and I was born in West Los Angeles, and I came out of that area, and my dad was a pretty scary dude. He was he was in the service for a while. He boxed. He ended up being an engineer, an electrician engineer, but he was at the time I didn't understand that what my dad was walking around and carrying and where he had come from, and I didn't put all that together when you're young.
Yeah.
All I knew was my dad was a scary motherfucker, and
He was in the
mad.
service, and then he was fighting like
all
violence.
He was just a tough, and he was a tough dude, and he was a scary guy to be around, and my mom was very. She was kind of babying, She tried babying, and she tried to protect, him getting away, And I had a sister as well, and I had an identity crisis when I was young. I kind of grew up in a mainly Mexican neighborhood, and I loved what those families had. My family was falling apart. My father, he abused us, and we ended up getting taken by child services, man.
Oh, wow.
And so we got separated and removed from our home, and by the time my mom got us back and had us,
how long were you gone?
only like a month.
Okay,
Yeah, until they assessed, he was gone. He was completely.
Do you remember how that was when you were gone? Like, did you?
I went to school like every other day. I think I was in the 4th grade, and somebody comes up to the door and they're like, so and so, and I didn't know it was child services, but it was LAPD and child services. Okay, went down to the principal's office, and then my sister walked through the door from another class.
Yeah.
And when we end up going, and my sister was like, just don't separate me and my brother. And they told us they wouldn't. And then later on that day, they were like, we've got to. And they took her to McLaren Hall, and they took me to a lady in South Central's house, foster care, black woman.
Yeah.
Lovely black woman, bro.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Kate, her name was Kate Jackson. I remember that because of the actors from Charlie's Angels. It was like Kate Jackson. They're like, you're going to go to Kate Jackson. I'm like, the movie star Kate Jackson? Like, no. I get there, jovial, black woman. And it was in South Central, and all the kids there were black. They had a rooster there. They had live animal. Like, it was dope. It was cool. It was really awesome. But the reality was I was crying, man, because I was being separated from my sister. I didn't know where my mom, my dad. And your parents, man, can, when you're a little kid like that, your parents might be fucked up, but they're your parents.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's
right?
like, I know these people.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was scared, man.
How old
and they're
were
at
you?
the drop, 9 years old.
Okay.
And at the drop of a dime, you go to school one day, and then you're removed from everybody.
Yeah.
And I remember, being in putting on some pajamas that didn't belong to me getting into a bed that smelled different and just seemed different. It wasn't my home. And I was 9, bro. I think about that at 9, and I cried myself to sleep every night.
What'd you guys do during the days, bro? Did you have like schooling? Was it homeschooling or what?
There was no school going on. I don't know what the hell was happening. There was no school going on, but we'd run around in the back, play. She'd let us go to the corner, a little market, with a little bit of money.
Yeah.
She'd be putting out board games, but it wouldn't last long. It was like 2 girls that were older than me and 2 boys that were younger than me. I was kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
But I also was like, I'm walking around, I'm like, these people aren't like me.
Yeah,
Nothing's like me.
Yeah,
you know? But she was a sweetheart, man. Like, she knew I was crying. She knew I was having a hard time. She'd invite me down to the living room while the rest of the kids went to bed, and she let me sit there with her. You know what I'm saying?
So she really cared.
Yeah, she did. She was doing the best she could do. Yeah. And she knew, man. Obviously, I didn't feel her. And when I got back home from that, I remember I was in the 4th grade. When I got home from that, that's when the trouble started. And I only recognized this way later on in life after doing some work. That's really when shit went south. I was a good kid, bro.
Yeah.
I was trying to stay out of my dad's way. I didn't talk back. I was just good. I was trying to do everything right so that all shit wouldn't break loose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And but when I got back, home never felt like this safe place. Like, people have I think, and I'm not going to use the word normal, but I'm going to say most people that I know, we'll just talk about my experience. They relate home and parents to safety and a safe place.
Yeah.
And one was, I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like that from when I was a little kid. I was fucking terrified of my father, you know.
Oh, wow.
And then the other thing was that when it got removed from us, there was no more. Like, I didn't know when the rug was going to get pulled again. Now I don't even trust what I am hanging on to. But I knew that my dad was gone, and that was a good thing, you know?
Yeah.
And now we were just there with my sister. And yeah, man, that's kind of, you know, where the trouble started. And the more work that I've done as I've gotten older around that, there's some issues there that I carried into my manhood that I didn't deal with or look at.
Yeah.
I think there was some things I wasn't ready to look at. I didn't have the knowledge or the wisdom yet to be able to start. I didn't have the tools yet either.
Tools, yeah.
So, and it kind of just, you know, I think that even through there, I was just trying to escape and, you know, breaking and entering and lighting fires and busting windows and all the little shit, you know, and
out the street doing that.
All that shit, right? Yeah. And I think by the time I experimented with alcohol and weed was right there, right behind it.
Yeah.
I definitely, that gave me a relief that it was like you hear people say, I was walking around until I was about 12, 13, holding my breath. And when I finally got the alcohol and the weed, it makes you not care about, and it was the first time I got relief. And listen, alcohol and drugs saved my life, man. For a while, until it didn't. It worked, man, because I might not be here if it wasn't for that, bro.
100%, yeah.
It did what it needed to do at that time until, as we know, it doesn't. But and that path, you know, I got, my father came back into my life, like, you know, 4 or 5 years later, and it was like.
So he just took off?
No, he was by law.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There was all sorts of shit. He had to go do therapy. He had to be X amount of miles away. You know what I'm saying? All that, all sorts of weird shit like that. But after like 4 or 5 years, he was able to see me on like weekend visit and this and that. And I was getting into more and more trouble. And finally, you know, he was like, you know, he lived in a part of Santa Monica that was like the center of the hood. I didn't know it as a kid, but that's what that was. And so I met everybody there, and eventually my mom was like, you need to go live with your dad. And I lived with him in Santa Monica, and I got really accepted by that community, embraced, and I wanted to be Mexican, man, for a long time, bro. I really did. I loved everything that was going on with what I could see from the outside. And that's like, quinceañeras and this, and we're eating bomb tamales on Christmas, and like I loved like the family together.
And nobody's tripping or stressing, and everybody takes everything light, had a good time. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you dudes drinking their beers,
Yeah.
and the community itself just accepted me, and so, you know, through that, you know, got into the neighborhood, and you know, and I was already experimenting, and crack had kind of come out.
Yeah.
And I was in high school when that came out, and to me I liked that. It was fun, and by, you know, I think that in the culture that I grew up in West LA in Santa Monica, like a lot of areas around Southern California, I was, you know, I like that. I like the guys I was looking up to at that point in time were coming out of either YA or prison. They were big dudes. They're all tacked out. They're all in shape. They walked a certain way. They spoke a certain way. And from a distance, I remember seeing that, and I wanted that. I found that. I thought, I believed that was what a man was. And so, you know, idolizing, looking at that, you know, an older homie, you know, he was out, and he was. The one thing about those guys is most of them had a needle in their arm too, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, he asked me if I wanted to get high. He was getting high, and I was like, yeah, of course. I tried it, and really that started to, you know, the cocaine. I already realized within myself that shit was affecting me differently than other people. Like I like that a lot.
Yeah. Like a little too much.
Like a little too much.
Yeah.
Then when I found heroin and speed, all that.
How old were you when you tried it the first
17.
time? 17. Okay.
And I had arrived. That was what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I knew it right then that I want to stay. I want to feel like this as much as I can. You know? And so that took me on a crazy run, bro, for years. And as the drugs, the ante's going up on the drug use.
Yeah.
The ante's going up on the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I tell people, man, I was not only addicted to the drugs, I was addicted to the lifestyle.
That adrenaline.
All of it, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And willing to accept, like, at that point in time, you know, getting dope sick the first time, catching a county year, losing jobs. These things were like, they just came with the territory.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting theirs, right? And you take your lumps. Like, that's part of doing business, right? In this world.
Not to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off. When you were, since your dad, how he was, bro, when you were in school, were you getting in fights at school and shit?
No, I wasn't getting in a fight. When I was a little kid, I was a sissy. By the time I was getting into high school, like junior high, I was fighting. But by the time I was in high school, there wasn't nobody trying to fight anybody because the whole neighborhood was there. So
yeah.
Was like nobody wanted problems with
the
hood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there was fights going on outside of that. You know what I'm saying?
Did you get into fights at school before that?
Yeah, I got into I got into, you know, not excessively.
Yeah.
Fighting wasn't a whole big thing. Yeah. I was getting more in trouble for vandalizing, stealing, breaking into shit, taking people's shit, you know? It was more like that. But yeah, man. And, you know, it just, it unfolded, and I made a lot of bad decisions. I was committing crimes. And the crimes got more and more serious, and I started catching real cases, man. And, you know, fought an 18-year case, fought a third strike case.
Oh, shit, 18 years.
Yeah, and ended up, you know, I had a couple strikes, and I had done 4 years on an armed robbery that went south. And a couple of years later, I get picked up for a large amount of cocaine, right? Not a large, not anything that crazy, but enough, you know?
Yeah.
Ounces of fucking coke, you know?
Yeah.
And my partner had a gun, and we got busted. And with that, at that time, that was in 1997, they were, if you had a crumb of crack or coke or heroin, they were striking you out.
I heard about 25 years.
25 years, bro.
Yeah.
And I can tell you 100
That is
motherfuckers I know in the joint doing that time.
For that?
For that, dude. I know people that had like a little bit in the syringe.
So fucked up,
I know people
dude.
that had a $5 rock, dude. And they
That
and to
up.
avoid the third strike, the 25 with the case, to avoid that, they would give them a deal and tell them, all right, take 18 without the L. And they would jump on it. Once you take that deal, you don't have action at an appeal. So there was people that were taking these deals and they were doing decades for nothing. Well, so I'm at this case, I'm fighting this case, and they're trying to strike me and my crime out. We both have violent felonies, 2 strikes. And as that's happening, the Romero Act is kind of starting to happen. And
what's the Romero Act?
The Romero Act was a dude who stole a piece of pizza and was running down like Redondo Beach Pier.
Yeah.
And they tackled him and caught him. They gave him 25 years over a piece of pizza.
For
because
a
it was
piece
a felony.
of pizza?
Yeah.
This
They call it felony theft.
Fuck.
Yeah. So that was Romero. And so that case, he got convicted on that. That case.
He got convicted of that.
Yeah,
and
dude.
he did 25 years?
No, listen. He starts fighting it. And
Yeah.
it was that case that got brought to trial that changed the law called Proposition 36.
Oh, shit.
So it was the Romero Act, which is Proposition 36, which states that the third felony has to be a violent felony to strike the person out.
Okay.
But that when I'm busted, that's not happening. And our attorney, we had 2 attorneys. One's like, we need to take a deal, and they were trying to offer us 18. They were trying to, and we're like, no. And my attorney's going, don't. No, there's this in the works. That we're going to keep on postponing. Gets bound over to Superior Court. This is already like 9 months later. They've been postponed. 9 months later, we get bound over to Judge Ito's court in Santa Monica Courthouse, right? That's the Supreme Court right there. Judge Ito, who tried OJ, right?
Okay,
He's our
yeah,
fucking
oh,
judge.
shit.
And so there's some back and forth stuff going on. And when we were there, the deal had finally come down for me and him to take 10 years, right?
Yeah.
But my attorney's telling him, don't take anything. So we go to court that day, and we're sitting there, and Judge Ito comes in. Everybody's seen Judge Ito on this OJ trial. It's like, you know this dude. I'm like, oh, shit, these are... And so he comes out, and he's hearing it, and he calls the counsel to the table, to the front, and they go up there, and you can see, like, the prosecutor all mad. And our attorneys, mine's just, like, nodding his head, looking down. And, all right, come back. Judge Ito's like, listen, man, these guys are drug addicts. I'm not going to, wash them up with 25 years plus whatever the case is. Oh. And I'm not going to give them that. He goes, they'll be back on a retrial. They'll be back on an assault. He says, they'll be back on an appeal, waste a whole bunch of taxpayers' money, and they'll get out early because of Romero Act. He started running it out what was happening.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we're waiting. So what's he going to do? And so it ended up being that the term was 3 years for the case.
Yeah. Because
we had 2 strikes, they double it to 6. And you don't have any half time, so you got to do 80%. So that's what I caught on that case. And, man, my addiction followed me.
That was a sweet deal.
Yeah,
compared
sweet,
to
dude.
what it sounded like, man. Thank
Bro.
God for Romero.
My girl got a call from me on the phone at like 10 in the morning from payphone.
Yeah.
From Santa Monica Courthouse saying, all right, we might take a deal for 10. We may take a deal for 10.
Shit, yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah, baby, I can see your son graduate. I'm like, but in my head, I'm thinking, I gotta get some kind of action. And so then when I called her back, I'm like, dude, I got this deal for 6 years.
Hell yeah.
She was like, I was doing backflips through it.
Hell yeah.
To the cross. So
how old was your kid at the time?
Vincent was 3 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you got 2 kids.
3 kids. Yeah.
3 kids. 2?
3 or 4. I got 2.
Okay.
Vincent the older and my daughter Sophia.
Okay.
And yeah, man. And listen, I didn't have problems in there behind dope. There's people that create huge problems for themselves in prison with dope.
So you
me.
were off it?
No. But my addiction followed me in there too. I used, sometimes your people end up, and then you're, I'd end up strung out, but
So those are the ones that give it to you, right?
Right, yeah, dude. And then you end up, but there, we made Pruno in there. We did all that. Like, I'm saying that I never looked at the addiction of drugs and alcohol as it pertained to my life. Like, I was unwilling to look at it honestly and be like,
take a step back and look at what was happening.
Yeah, like me using substance or I'm using is causing me problems in my life, and I end up here, and here.
So you just think, shit just fucked up because it's just fucked up.
Yeah, it's just part of
it's just part of how it goes. Yeah.
So I continue, and I, and I'll be honest with that. The fact that, man, this thing, I've battled with this thing for, throughout my life.
Yeah.
But I got turned on to, I found myself turning into, I had 2 kids. I was out on prison on the run, had lost a bunch of weight, and I caught a reflection of myself or I'd really become the person that I didn't want to become, which was in and out of jail, not a father to my kids, couldn't keep my word, all this shit, man. And I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be something better. I knew I had it. I knew, and I had my eye on what I wanted to be. I just didn't know. I was on drugs, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was addicted.
Gotta put a big filter up.
Right.
Yeah.
But I had an idea of the type of man that I wanted to be, and so yeah, dude.
Do you remember more or less the day that you really made that reflection that you?
That's one of the most powerful days of my life.
When was it?
I saw it.
Where were you?
I was walking. I was doing a bunch of illegal shit with this girl, and I was fucking tweaking and fucking, and it was just. Out of prison again and just off running and breaking everybody's heart.
How long were you out?
I've been out almost a year.
Okay.
And I was a full board fucking, I'm not committing.
So being in prison didn't make you...
Oh, hell, I wasn't looking at myself.
You went back in, you went fucking full force.
Well, the only things that happens after, when I caught the case for the armed robbery.
Yeah.
At that point in time, when they hit me with the 2 strikes, I was like, I'm not committing any more violent felonies. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Start to get move a little bit of this and that, and my boy had the gun. So that went bad, but I already made that decision. I ain't doing that,
Yeah.
So I was in it, but she was doing some shit and I was just there and she was buying dope and I'm running around with her and yeah, man. I mean, I wasn't deep in it, like hitting licks and doing stuff. I was just like, I was getting fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My main thing was I just wanted to get high all the time.
Yeah. Escape. Yeah.
And I wasn't willing to do crazy shit because I knew all it took was one and I'm done. Like fuck that.
So you did value your life.
Absolutely. And I didn't want to go back to prison.
Yeah.
And it was almost a year. And I'm walking down the street. I'd gone to go to 7-Eleven and get something. I'm walking up the street and there was a couple out of business stores. And I remember catching myself. I looked and I didn't even recognize myself in the reflection outside. And I was like, I walk around at like, 210. And at that point in time, I was probably around 175.
Oh,
so I'm fucking sucked up.
Yeah.
I think I'm smooth, but I'm fucking sucked up, dude. I think I look like a Calvin Klein fucking model. Convincing myself all sorts of good shit. So, and I fucking stopped, man. And in that reflection, I saw the guy that I never wanted to be.
Wow.
And the first thing that hit me, Jerry.
Yeah, you just gave me the chills, bro. Oh my God.
I'm gonna tell you the first thing that hit me. If this is gonna give you the chills. You know what my dilemma was at that moment? I realized I'm either going to die or go to prison, and I don't know how to stop doing this.
Oh, wow.
I can't stop doing it. I don't know how to stop doing this. And I'm either going to die, go to prison, or I'm going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And bro, I can smell and feel the tension in the air, dog. You know when I talk about smell? Like, I've been around enough shit to know that was something that was like in my immediately around me.
Near future.
Shit. Yeah.
For
sure, bro.
You could sense that, huh?
For sure.
Yeah.
and I didn't know how to change. And you know something, you know, I had a couple friends that were kind of early in recovery, but they had come from some places that I come from, and their lives were in order. They were doing things because they weren't using it. I was like,
So did you still had those thoughts, but you were still using, but thinking, I'm going to get off it, but I'm trying to figure out a way?
no, this is right at that moment.
You just
in front
stopped.
of that glass.
Yeah.
I'm fucking sitting there crying and dialing a phone number to call these guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Maybe a pager.
They
Might
were the
have
first
been-
ones that came to mind?
Yeah, those two dudes.
Okay, cool.
And
Wow.
and one dude called another friend that I knew that wasn't sober at the time, but he had been in and out, and he knew of a treatment center in downtown. You had to be on parole.
Yeah.
And if you were on parole, you were gonna get 90 days in there. And so fucking I didn't know what to do. And I went, bro, and I just
The guy that you call, sorry to cut you off, had he already talked to you about it? Like, had he already said, hey, bro, what the fuck you doing? Or he was just doing his thing?
No. Nobody was really on me at that
Nobody
point in time,
ever
people-
said anything to you?
Oh, people had tried to say some stuff, but I wasn't hearing them. So people were
But
just
you
like,
just knew, but you just knew that he was sober, and he came to mind. That's what I'm saying. Like, was it because he had his shit together, or because did he say something, or you just?
he had his shit together, and he was a friend.
Yeah.
He never told me, hey, man, you need to get clean or sober.
So he was being a good example.
He was just, he was
and
living
then that you saw that. Oh, that's
I saw
dope,
that.
bro. That's
He
dope.
wasn't preaching. If he would have been preaching to me, I probably wouldn't have seen it.
Then you would have never heard it. Yeah.
So
Wow.
I really just examined and I reached out and asked. And what do we do around here once we're in this thing? I mean, he's like, all right, I'm gonna call somebody, you know. And I got into a place where I got exposed to recovery, man. I got exposed to not necessarily the steps. This was a different type of a thing, but it was a behavior modification, therapeutic community mixed.
Okay.
And it was very structured. It was a program that they had in prisons and out of prisons.
Okay.
And a wonderful gentleman by the name of Wayne Garcia. He's my mentor to this day. He introduced me to just the concept of that it's all right to be a good man. It's all right to have a job. It's all right to show up for your kids. So it's like to buy a home one day, or to, you know, like that's all right to do that. You know, it's okay to be a good motherfucker and stand on what you say and do what you say and help your community. And this dude had been in and out of prison. He had been in 36 treatment centers before he got it.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Damn.
Yeah,
36.
yeah, I mean, this
Wow.
dude, and he always would tell me early on, I don't give up on you because somebody didn't give up on me. Nobody knew it was going to be that day. And this guy's not talking just from somebody who got clean. He becomes the vice president of Health Right 360. He spends 20 years there. Now he's the director, the VP, or the president at Amity. He's a major dude, but this was 25 years ago in his career.
Yeah.
He only had like 8 or 9 years clean. And he's telling me this, and he's the program director. And this dude, the way he carried himself, the way he walked and talked, like this dude was the real shit. I'd never met a man like that. I was blown away, bro.
Yeah, you never seen that before.
Never seen that. He was the dude that was tapped back, even to this day. Even in it, like he'd be pressed and
Hell yeah.
Stacy's and the way he carried himself, dude. He was like, I remember those dudes. I looked up those guys, but this was the first guy that was telling me something completely different from what those dudes are usually telling me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
wow.
the opposite.
Yeah.
And just the way he carried himself and walked, when this dude talked, at least for me,
Yeah.
and a lot of other dudes that I know were like, within 2 seconds, you're like, this dude's the real shit.
Yeah,
But the shit he's saying is all real shit.
Yeah.
And it challenged me. And I was like, I want to see what showing up is like. I want to see what buying all the ways in and doubling down, doing everything that's suggested. I want to see what my life would look like if I did that. What would that be like if I just bought into this whole thing and did what he said?
Wow.
And that's what I did, bro. And my life took off in ways I can't describe to you. My relationships with my kids, as a man, the work I did around it, AA and service work and all that, but in my community and speaking at places, and then my career and everything, my whole life, my relationship with my parents, everything changed, bro. My life changed and exploded. And I put together 4 years and 11 months. And I'd never tried sobriety or any of that. And through that process, man, my life got really big and I had a lot of money.
Yeah.
I did very well. I built a brand with this kid, Travis Barker. It was called Famous Stars and Straps. And this thing was a massive global brand.
Can I just ask you one question real quick before we're gonna get into that?
Yeah.
'Cause I know you got fucking gold on that shit. Do you feel like the reason why that guy touched you so much is because he's been there and done it? If it was somebody else walking the walk and talking and doing everything, but hadn't been there, would it have been different, or what do you think?
Well, first off, if it weren't for this dude, I wouldn't have heard the message.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay?
Yeah,
100%.
That's what I'm saying.
For Wayne Garcia.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. He'd done way more prison time than I did.
Yeah.
He'd shot way more dope. he had a harder life. I mean, I can't say whose life's harder, who's not, but whatever I thought I had going on, he was 10 times, right?
Yeah.
But there's some, because he's like nobody else. Like he was true with it. Like this wasn't some guy that was putting on an act.
That's what I'm saying. And it's someone that's been there.
He really been there, dude. Like he could.
And then he's really here now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why you connected so much, because he really was there, and then he really was here. Because if he was just always here, you wouldn't have got the message, right?
He was a fuck up.
Yeah, that's
story.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
It was that back, like he was the dude. In every way he walked around and literally you're like, this motherfucker right here, bro.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man, like next to my son, and I don't throw it around easily.
Yeah.
He's the most solid man that I've ever met. To this day, and every time I've picked up the phone when I've needed something, he was like, pack your bag. I got you. You need a ticket to get up here? I got you.
Wow.
And so, I wouldn't have heard it from somebody else, bro.
Okay, yeah.
He was the right time, the right place. And I had never seen a guy like that.
Yeah.
With that good of a pitch. And it wasn't a pitch. It was the real deal. That's why
yeah. That's why
I've never seen that.
That's why we were talking about earlier, about those of us that have done shit, that have been there, we're the ones that can help the most, like him. That's why I wanted to get into that, because we need more people like that, because that's what he came from. From the dark.
That guy saved tens of thousands of people's lives, just him.
I love that.
And this guy's going to court in the middle of his days for guys that he cares about, like he would take the time. Like this dude, Wayne Garcia, he's my mentor, man. I think there was a point in time where I wanted to follow in his footpath.
Yeah.
I think there was a point in time where Wayne saw me as that, and me possibly taking that road. And he also had his sidelings, like his program director, assistant program, like his dudes was the same. It was a brother and a white dude, and they had all come from prison. It was like the same thing, like, and everybody knew these dudes.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Like they had real. They were really living that shit, dude.
Yeah.
And you
one extreme to another extreme.
You could see in the way they dress and their style, like you couldn't remove that out of them.
Yeah.
But they were in a whole different place. You get what I'm saying? Like
100%, yeah, bro.
And I had to sit there and watch and calculate and pay attention. I was like, damn, dude, there's no holes in this shit. These dudes are really like getting together and carrying the message and doing this, and we all go feed the homeless on Thanksgiving. We do this and like be open to therapy and that and like all this You know, Wayne's biggest thing was, he goes, I get off on seeing families come back together. That's what we do around here. We bring families back together.
Wow.
He would say shit like that. He's a magnificent dude. So I saw that, was very attracted, and I bought in and just started doing everything. And life got great, man. It got really good, man. And
Yeah.
some of us, or, you know, for my case, you hear about people getting a lot of prizes and running off with the prizes, you know, and that was definitely, you know, I got busy with life, dude. I came from no money. I came from very, very poor, not even humble, but poor. We just didn't have a lot, dude. We didn't. And I think that growing up like that, for some people, certainly for myself, I had an idea or a fantasy or belief that money fixes your problems. I could just get the money, you know?
Yeah.
And that ended up happening through the recovery. And, you know, I remember about like maybe 4 years into it, I bought a couple homes, my parents looking good. Like I've got a...
That was from that brand?
Yeah.
How'd you get into that? How'd that happen?
We
Travis Barker, he's the...
Yeah, the drummer from Blink.
Yeah. Skinny dude with... Yeah.
Right,
Super
right.
famous. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend named Skinhead Rob, who's a friend of mine, and he was in a band with Travis.
Okay.
They had this band going. But at the time, I was running Joker. I was finally clean and sober, and cartoon and stuff. I wanted me to come back to the brand. I used to own it, but I no longer owned it.
That was in like 91?
No, this is like 2001.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I did own it back in 1996.
Oh, okay.
And they asked me to come back, and so I'm working, and Rob and me would get together, and I wasn't dating at that point in time, so we were going out to fucking Hollywood, and nightlife was popping, and, you know, just being sluts, you know? And,
Yeah.
So at that point in time, we were going to some nightclub, and Travis wanted to go, and he came along, and I met him, and we all rolled together, and from that point on, like maybe once a week or so, Travis would be like, let's go, I want to go out, let's roll, and we had the hookups, so wherever we're going, we're getting right in, you know? And I remember Travis came to my pad, and I was going to drive, and I had to put a bunch of like rolling racks in the back, and I'd always be like in and out of the trunk, and he'd be like, damn, dude, like, you really be doing it, you know? And he knew Estelle on a cartoon and everybody, and he knew that I ran the brand. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, dude, man, are you out there with selling product? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. And he'd always be like tripping on my work shit in the trunk or whatever, right? And so at some point in time, maybe it was a few months later, he goes, hey, Lucky, I'm starting this brand. I'd love you to, I want you to come over and take a look at it and give me your opinion. And I drove out to Corona. And this is like 2000, I may be clean 18 months.
Yeah.
And I go out there, and I look at it, and I'm like, it's like, wait, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I go, but this is not my world. It was really like super white, and I was doing a lot of urban stuff.
Yeah.
And I just remember it was like, and I left it all good, bro, you know, and I take off. I don't say it's too white, but I'm kind of like, this is really out of my realm. So maybe 2 months later, we're still going out and stuff, but we're not talking about it. 2 months later, he hits me out of the blue and he's like, hey, Lucky, I made some changes to some things. I want to come out and look at it. I'm like, Travis, I'm looking busy right now, bro. I'll call you back. And I tell him something like, I'll come at the end of next week. Well, I end up, that I gave him my word, and I'm like, I'm going to go there. Okay. And I get there, and when I get there, it kind of looks similar to that, to how I left it. But he has a couple trucker hats and some belt buckles. Like the Cadillac. I'm like, I go, do you have that stuff here? And he's like, yeah. I go, you have inventory? And he goes, yeah. I go, I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to take, and I took like Cadillac belt buckles and some belts, some trucker hats with thing, and a couple logos I like. And I just took like 3 packs of assortments with me. I go, I'm going to go try something out, and I'm going to call you in a few days. And he's like, all right. And I took that stuff, and I took it to my 3 best stores, Fred Siegel in Santa Monica. They didn't get it. I go, I need you to dress this up and man, give this thing a shot. And they're like, all right. And then the other guy had to beg him to do it. He goes, I'll open it later. And he was pushing it in the back. And I'm like, no, bro. I need to dress a mannequin and put this shit in front. Okay. And then the last guy was like, it's kind of new looking. All right. And he put it up. So these 3 stores put the stuff up. Mm-hmm. This is on a Thursday. By Sunday, my phone's blowing up with these 3 stores saying, I don't know what that stuff is, bro, that you brought, but bring the whole catalog.
Bring it all. Wow.
And I had seen Von Dutch starting to pop off.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? There's another one. Another. No, it was Von Dutch. It was really starting to pop with belts and trucks and on. And I felt like this is kind of on that trend, but it's a little punk rocky. And sure enough, man, when that happened, I told Travis, I go, look, this is what I think.
Is this that F?
That F.
That F.
That
Okay.
F.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
logo.
yeah, yeah.
I grabbed that logo because I liked it. It looked
okay.
like a Falcon logo.
Yeah.
And so I go, this is what's going on. And I tell him the 3 stores. He go, you got the stuff in those? I'm like, yeah, bro. And it's going to do well. But you got to let me work with you. And, hey, bro. And we built a fucking massive company.
Wow.
It was great. It was a great run, bro.
How many people have tattooed that F?
So many.
Well, I've tattooed that F on people, dude.
There you go.
Yeah, so many people have used that F for all kinds of lettering, for all kinds of stuff.
Totally, dude.
Putting shit in the F, like that's
totally.
Wow.
And I think that's like a big when people start getting shit tattooed on it. Definitely, I've had it happen with a couple brands.
I knew you were doing some. I didn't know that was you. I knew you were. Oh my god!
Yeah, fun ride, great ride.
Wow,
all over the world, good stuff. But you know, man, all that thing's coming, and somewhere in this journey of all this happening, I get the girl. You know, I've got the outside things, and maybe about 6 months before I actually relapsed. I was already starting to separate from not going to meetings. I got work stuff. I got this. Not being completely honest about things.
Yeah.
Not picking up my phone when I should. Okay?
Yeah.
Little things like that start to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Jerry. This is another really pivotal point in things. And about 6 months before I relapsed, remember I had said earlier that, you know, sometimes people that come from very little, from no money, form an idea in their head that it's all about the money because money's going to take care of your problems. And I bought into that belief. I needed to find out for myself. And I remember 4 years into this life that I had built, I get home one day and I'm sitting in my room on the bed and my closets, I got a walk closet open. And I would always walk around with $5,000 in my pocket. I had 2 sets of all my favorite sunglasses. You know, Ferragamo shirts. I'd buy 2 of the same because, you know, I was looking in my room and I'm thinking about the girl that I'm with. Shout out to Julie K. She was a Playmate of the Year. Penthouse Playmate.
Oh, okay.
Not Playmate, Penthouse Pet of the Year. And I really felt like the pieces were all come together, right?
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there on the edge of my bed, bro, that day. And I felt like I had the external things. You know, money in the bank and all that. And I fucking realized at that moment that I had a hole in me, bro. That hole has always been in me.
Yeah.
That's the hole that I try and fill up with other shit. I knew at that moment that hole was there, bro. And nothing outside of it was fixing it. And I knew at that moment, sitting on the edge of my bed, that I was in trouble, bro. Because I had doubled down that if I could get the right life, that this hole would be fixed, bro.
First you were filling it up with dope and all kinds of other adrenaline and shit, and now you're filling adrenaline and money and other shit.
All the outside
but still
things,
the same hole.
Still. And when I realized that, I was upset. I was frustrated.
Yeah. That
the plan didn't work, and I was also scared.
How long was this into?
This is 4 years in.
Okay.
And by 4 years, like a month before I was turning 5, I found it necessary at that point in time to go back out. And And I'll tell you, dude, I burned it down, bro. It took me a quarter of the time to burn everything down. And I'm talking about from that to homelessness. Homelessness. But both the homes, the cars, and going into fucking, $300,000 debt. I mean, I lost it all. I was with a plastic bag sitting in a treatment center in Santa Monica. It was over. Wow. And that's happened to me. That's happened to me. That's happened to me 3 times. That's happened to me 3 times,
wow,
bro. I built 3 big brands, and at some point in time, I get to a place with it where I get an idea, or I'm not being honest, or I'm keeping secrets, or I think that I can do this differently, or wouldn't one just, I can do it and get away with it. All this shit.
Yeah.
But ultimately, still not convinced, right?
100%.
And I would build up the vibe. My life would shatter. And then I'd buckle down and get sober and rebuild, and things would come into my life.
After that one, how long were you in the treatment center? 90 days again?
Oh, no. I didn't even stay the full time in that treatment center. Then I tried a sober living. Then I went here. Then I was at a friend's house. But I started to stay sober, and things started coming into place. Oh, the sober living guy tells me, hey, you want to be the assistant manager? Now I'm free rent, right?
Yeah. And
I'm doing a little consult. Like, it would slowly come together until...
You were a bouncer at one time too, weren't you?
When I was young.
Okay, yeah.
But the next brand, the hundreds popped up.
Yeah.
That fucked that off. Then I was broke for a while.
How long did you do that for?
Like 3 years.
And
fucked it off. Couldn't, And then I spent a year and a half in clean, assistant manager, sober living, put life in, boom. And Young and Reckless approaches me from the beginning. Hey, this is what we're doing. I get in that. Another one up, And all good. And then I get to a place and boom, burned it down. And then I was getting sober again. And then a hill figure thing started. And so it happened a few times with me, man. Really burning it all down and cleaning up the debt, re-putting my credit back together, getting a small little apartment, going and buying a little beater, and then getting a nicer car, and like rebuilding it back and tear it fucking down.
What do you remember? Like, what every time gave you that, like, what pushed you to not give up every time, bro? Like, was it something different? Or was it was it the same thing every time that you were like, this time I'm going to do it. This time I'm going to do it.
I think it was, I'm going to do it. It was like very self-will, self-imposed. I'm going to do it. But I had kids.
They were always in your mind?
Yeah, dude. Like, I had a wonderful ex-wife that allowed me to still father as I could. Never played games, never talked badly about me to my kids.
Good woman.
Brought my kids up to see me on a regular basis when I could see my kids. She did everything. Bro, my ex-wife's my best friend.
Oh, cool.
And she really just allowed me to be there. But my kids I have to work. I couldn't stay down. Like, that wasn't going to work, dude. I'm fucking teenage kids. Like, I had to, so I'd pull it together. So
did they know you were using?
Yeah, I think my kids knew more when I was using than what I thought.
Oh, okay.
I thought I could just fool everybody,
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, they went through it. They saw things. My daughter was a little bit young, but, finally the truth comes out. And then me telling them, I'm not going to fucking do this again. I'm going to get clean and sober. So they start getting tired of hearing that shit. And everybody's getting tired of hearing it. I'm fucking tired of it, of saying it,
Losing faith and hope.
But to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Till the point that people start looking at you, and now they ain't even judging you anymore. They're like, this is just how this guy is.
Yeah.
Which, that's a whole nother level.
That's
of
different.
Like,
that's different. Yeah. That's different.
You sit with that for a little while,
Different,
and that's painful. So, but my daughter drew boundaries. I think my son had some boundaries, but he too kind of followed in my footsteps. Not in going to prison and that stuff, and neighbors, but he started using drugs, and he really put himself through it, bro. From 17, we had to take him we had to fucking grab him and take him and put him in a wilderness, and then to a boys' 12-step home in Montana. Like, he couldn't be home. This dude was fucking running away, running amok. And he was gone for a year. He came back and had a treatment center, sober livings, and fucking and I was up and down.
Yeah.
Until finally, I started putting some time together, and
so you were both going through some shit.
Oh, bro, he's mimicking what he's seen, bro. He's doing what he was shown. I didn't know. I shouldn't use the word hate, but if I'm gonna be honest, bro, I did. I hated my father when I was young. I hated him, dude. I don't understand a son and a father's love. For some reason, because I hated my father so much, didn't want to be around him, didn't want him around, didn't want to be with this man at all. Yeah. I thought that sons just automatically hate their fathers. Like, subconsciously.
You just thought that comes with it.
Yeah, I just couldn't understand it. And so later on, people were telling me, they're like, your son fucking idolizes you, bro. He wants to be like you. What do you? I didn't believe that. I go, my son looks at me like I'm fucking. He don't want to be nothing like me. Well, bro, I was wrong, dude. I was wrong. He did exactly what I did, bro. You know, but I wasn't sharp enough or ready to hear that. People had pulled me aside and told me, "Hey, bro, it doesn't even matter what you say, dude. Whatever you do, that's what your kids are gonna do." They don't hear you, bro. They see
the example.
And I tell that to every father that I know that's younger than me. Yeah. I said, bro, I ain't got nothing to tell you. Only got one thing to tell you. Just hear me on the one thing. I ain't gonna tell you anything else. And it's that, dude.
Be that.
You just got to, yeah. There's no way to fake it.
Yeah.
You either are or you aren't. And so, I think through my time where I was clean and sober, my kids were with me doing community service work on the holidays. They'd see men come over to my house, and I'd have a meeting in the living room. Yeah. They would be with me on the weekend. I'm like, I gotta go drop some clothes off.
Yeah.
Right now, really about. So those things permeated my kids. So yes, there's a lot of craziness, but my kids also got to see me as like successful in business, in community. I started a mentorship program at the Pico Youth and Family Center.
Yeah, in 2006, right?
Yeah, and we ran it for a while with Oscar.
Is gang and
gang intervention stuff.
Yeah.
At-risk kids.
Cool, bro. Yeah.
And but I was doing all sorts of stuff throughout, all over the place, and my kids were like, they seen articles in the newspaper and different things on their dad, and so that stuff also stayed with them, and long story short, my daughter and me are like that.
Yeah.
She let me back into her life because she put me on ice the end of high school and beginning of college. She just told me, I need you to give me my space. I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk to you.
You feel like she was right doing that?
1,000%. She was healthy.
I love that.
She's healthy, bro.
A lot of parents ask me, they say, hey, my husband's on dope. Should I let my kids see him? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't think a kid should see a fiend or a parent. So that's great, bro. I love that. I love that she decided that.
She did. And
because that's a high standard. She's putting standards.
She's healthy.
Yeah. That's smart.
She's healthy. She's conscious. Her mom didn't convince her of any of that.
Yeah. Her herself, she was conscious.
She had to. And
that's dope, bro.
Her mom was probably like, you have to make that decision, And
she was
smart.
That's
how Jessica is. She's not going to, my ex-wife, she just wouldn't do that. She's going to let them come to the conclusion like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was really difficult, man. I was using, and my daughter didn't want to speak to me. And I used my daughter not wanting to speak to me, her cutting me off. But I knew that what she was doing was she was being the adult.
Yeah.
Somebody had to fucking have their head on.
And she was how old?
Damn, at that age, 15.
Wow.
15. She said, no.
Wow.
And so I was gone, dude. And I was gone, and I'm telling you, it was a couple years. I tried to text her once, like 6 months later, and she was like, Dad, I asked you, please don't call me or text me. I'll call you when I'm ready. And I just fucking had to leave it alone, you know. And so my son's busy in and out, dope, and I was like, you know, I eventually get clean. I'm clean and sober for a while. I moved back to LA, and I'm now assistant managing a place in Venice, and I've been clean and sober a couple years. And I get an email in my phone one day, and the email, I click on it, and it says from my daughter, and as I start, I take the phone outside of the house. I want to be alone. And I start reading, and dude, she was finishing she was in the 11th or 12th grade when she stopped talking to me, and now she was her second year in college hitting me because we didn't talk for 3 years. So as I'm reading this email from my daughter, you know how you read an email and you can hear somebody's voice?
Mm-hmm.
The email I'm reading is coming from a woman. The email and the words are coming from a woman. They're not coming from my high school daughter. And I'm reading it, and tears are in my eyes because she's transcended from a girl
To a woman. Wow.
And I miss it. And now I'm dealing with the woman.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? What I'm
Yeah,
telling
of
you?
course, bro. Of course. Wow. You just gave me the chills again, bro. Oh my God.
This letter that was like had me fucking in tears, bro, of her telling me how hard it was for her to do this, and that how much she loves me. How much she needs her dad, and I get choked up talking about it, man. And she feels like from what she's because my ex-wife's talking to me, my cheerleader. She remarried. Her husband's my best, one of my close friends. Like now that we know each other, but we're like that. We vacation together, holidays, like we're road dogs.
Yeah.
So I'm talking with her, and I'm talking to my son. So my daughter isn't talking to me, but she knows it's, he's been sober this long? Okay, he's managing. And so when she sent me that letter.
How long were you sober for?
A couple years.
Oh, okay.
And she was in college, so she wasn't here. She was in Alabama going to school. And so I'm getting this email from Alabama from her. And she was like, I want to sit down. I want to hear where you're at. I want to sit down. And so, we met it was like a month later. She was home from school, and I didn't know what was in store for me in a relationship with my daughter. I didn't know how much she was going to teach me about being a man. I didn't understand the depths and the dynamics of being present for a relationship with an opposite sex, which is my daughter. And also be the woman that I won't walk away from because I'll walk away. No, I'm going to have to listen. I got to treat her like a queen. She's turned me into a better man. And now we're like that.
Oh, wow.
Bro, I mean, through it all, through her move, she's a great teacher. She teaches 4th grade in the city of Santa Monica in the school. She's on fire. And yeah, dude, it's like, that's a gift of just, my sponsor would tell me, dude, like, give her space and her respect. You need to work on you. Just work on your life. And if he wouldn't even promise me, he'd say, if that's what the plan is, it's going to happen. You can't stop it. Just focus on you. Just put your life. And sure enough, she reached out, and, my son, I was sober a couple years. My son fucking was using bad, dude. And I got a call from somebody that I know there. He was shooting dope, and they were like, hey, bro, I've been keeping your boy alive. I was giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He's gone out a couple times. He's awake right now. And I'm like, dude, where's he at? And I fucking drove over. I got my son. He was in tears. He was a mess, bro. And, I took him over to his grandparents' house. They were out of town. And, me and my ex-wife, we went there and saw him. I'm like, hey, bro, you've got 72 hours at this house before your grandparents' house. You got to figure out somewhere to go. Figure it out. And he fucking got on the phone and found a detox. I would take him and went into that detox on his own. And before the time was up at the detox, he was calling to a treatment center in West LA, and they were like, "You be here at this time on this day." And he went. And fast forward, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
He's the head counselor at that treatment center. He's about to get his bachelor's in psychology, and he's moving right into his master's in psychology because he wants to program direct, and he wants to be his own. He wants to be a therapist and have his own business, right?
Wow.
So his life is he's got a grandson. He's getting married. His fiance is a psychologist in the same field, and he's just doing his thing, man. And you know, he's all of those things he saw in me.
Yeah.
Somehow he took that and bloomed it on his own. And he's like that guy. He's like a little mini Wayne Garcia.
Wow.
He's all the best parts of me.
I was just gonna say
Bro,
that. I was just gonna say that.
And he knows the type of admiration I have for people in that field and who Wayne is. And
he's like a new age Wayne Garcia.
Yeah. It's weird, but it's mixed up in there. He didn't come up with it on his own.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know, and I go to meetings and all I do is hear about my son. Did your son save my life? Did your son, like all over the West Side, bro. He's like, tell you, man, it's a blessing, dude. My daughter is this great teacher. They don't get paid a lot of money. They don't take care of our teachers, but she's an educator and she's a great fourth grade teacher. She's helping these kids. She takes all her work home with her. You know, she's trying to save every kid type thing, right?
Yeah.
She goes, I didn't choose to be a teacher. Teaching, education chose me.
Yeah,
right?
Wow, yeah.
So I sit sometimes in bed and I think about where I came from and how I grew up. And I think about everything we went through together as a family, what my kids through. The good stuff they got to see. All of it, right? And who they are today. And my daughter's 25, my son's 30. And they are contributing with solutions to the human race.
Yeah.
My kids wouldn't hurt anybody. They're not built like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My son's a big dude, but they take time. They have humanity in their heart. They care about animals. They care about our environment. They care about other human beings and their welfare.
Yeah.
My kids, that's what my kids are about. And ultimately that's what I'm about. And ultimately that's what my ex-wife is about, you know? And my kids carry that. And it's like, through all this shit, bro, all I need to do is look at my kids and my grandson, and I'm hit with so much gratitude. The fact that I'm even here, breathing, and get to witness this. The fact that somehow my creator was able to take this and rewrite a story that I couldn't imagine.
Some dark shit into
right?
a lot of light.
Me and my son could be celled up together. We could be buried in plots next to each
100%.
other. We could be in a tent together.
1000%.
This is
bro.
real shit, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of people don't make it out of any of those three. They're in one of those three. Most people that go into those situations don't know any way out.
And that, you know, there was generational trauma and shit coming from my dad's parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, years later, I come to understand, man, my dad had it worse than I did. My dad had horrific things happen. I'm not excusing my father for what he did. No way. But I was able to get some perspective on, as I came to know him and find out more and more about my dad as he got older, the stuff he went through, the stuff he was never shown. He showed up with this thing, didn't know what the fuck to do, you know?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not excusing it, but, you know, I use that as a badge through life to do what I want to do. You know, when we talk about dudes, when we're talking about dudes that, lazy motherfucker, get up and do. I can only say that because I was at some point in time doing that shit, dude.
We were that same motherfucker, bro.
Like, people, let me be clear with people. If you think that I've been this guy, no, I grew into this guy, became this guy. I know the pain and frustration because I was. I walked around with a sob story, bro, with a story that was real.
Victim.
But a victim that I could use to do all the shit. And I didn't want to take accountability or responsibility for my life. Didn't want to do it. Didn't want anything to do with having to take any responsibility for the kids I made, for the shit I made. And until I was able to own some shit, take it off my parents, own some shit, because there's a point in time where it's no longer on them. Whatever happened to me as a kid, bro, fucking 40 years old.
We're an adult now.
Still on some shit that happened, 40 years ago, And in owning that and really doing the work,
100%.
Putting down the substances in order to do the work and start to take a look at yourself. Start to maybe build a relationship and subscribe to something bigger than yourself, right?
Serving other people.
And it was really like doing that work and coming to own that. Once you take ownership, there's nothing more, I don't know the word, liberating.
Mm-hmm.
There's a liberating feeling to having nobody to blame. And Wayne kind of helped get me there. Like, Wayne was able to put that into perspective. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? I can't be that dude.
What did he say?
Weak.
Did he tell you take responsibility?
No, it was like he put it into different words, and it came over a few months of him getting up every day and talking in front of men.
Yeah.
There was a point in time where, like, these two dudes were graduate. I was new in the recovery, but there was a couple guys that were 90 or 120 days in. They'd come from prison, and and one of the dudes was this big white boy. He was like 20s. He was big, dude. He'd been down for like 18, 19 years. No, he'd been down for like 12, 13 years. And he was about to leave that sober environment to go be with his wife and his kids that he hadn't parented. He hadn't been there, and he was going to go to be there and do that and go find a job. And this dude's he's like 6'4", and he was getting up and he was sharing. They were scared. They didn't know, how to do this. And there was a brother that was going on too, and he shared this similar thing, bro. He was going back to something where now he needed to be this guy, and he didn't have any experience in being that guy, right?
Yeah.
And so Wayne got up, and he goes, because at the time Wayne lived in Venice, but we're all in downtown LA in the program. It's right by the Nickel, it's by Skid Row. And he goes, hey man, where I live, he goes, on the west side of LA, he goes, I sometimes go, he was up early, he goes, I go at 3:30 in the morning, and I'll start heading to downtown, and I'll come out of the west side, and I'll pass by these different bus stops. Some of these bus stops are down by Ocean, so like those buses are going up to Malibu. The other buses, Robertson's going up to the Hollywood Hills, and he goes, you know who I see over there at these bus stops at 4:30 in the morning? And everybody's like, oh, what are you seeing? He goes, I see little Guatemalan women about this big. See them all over. And he names a couple different areas in Mexico. And he goes, about 4'11". And they've got their sack lunch and their bags. And I know that they've already packed their kids' lunches, ironed their clothes, made their own answer, right?
Yeah.
And they're living in some little ass fucking spot. And she spent 2 hours just getting here so that she can take another bus up to go clean this mansion, right? For probably money under the table. And she comes back and probably sends money back to Mexico. And he broke his shit down. And everybody says, and he goes, and they're about this little woman.
Yeah.
How is it that she is making it happen and your ass and everybody's like quiet, everybody's like, and he goes, because she has to.
That is good.
Because she has to, he says.
I like that.
He goes, there
Instead
is
of just saying, oh, you should just do it.
No.
That was good, bro.
Yeah,
that was
and he
good.
goes, man.
Wow.
He goes, because she has to.
Wow.
She ain't nothing in front of her telling her that she can't do this, that she ain't going to do this, she can't do this. Oh, no, how am I going to? No, she has to do it. It's going to happen, right?
And every time they think about it, they're going to think about a little lady.
And, dude, it just flipped everybody over there. But it was little things like that. And But taking accountability and, I worked in restaurants when I was young. when I was young, like 18, 19. You know, I always worked. I'm not out of habit, but I always worked. And I would work, and I worked as a waiter in like some really, really nice, super nice restaurants, right?
Yeah.
Because I like making tips. But as I waited tables and captain and front waitered, you know, I'd be the one with tux and French, selling the specials, talking to the people, opening up wine. But in those settings, bro, I would see men come into these restaurants as like the head of their families. Or I'd see men that would come back in regularly. Sometimes with their family. Sometimes they'd be at a business. Slide me the platinum. I watched the way they sat, how they addressed people. I saw the way these guys were with their family. That their family didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
He took care of things, right?
Yeah.
And so I just remember like taking note of that because I didn't see that in my house growing up, right? So I'm trying to figure out what is a man, you know?
Yeah.
But as I come back to those things and entering into that world, I had an idea of the type of man that I wanted to be to my family, you know?
Yeah.
And I haven't always executed, or I've had my falls through it, but you know, man, I mean, I've been away from that shit for a while, you know, longer than ever, and and you know, things are in a place where they've never been. They're in a place they've never been. I'm being a man, a grandfather, a father, a mate, an ex-husband, a brother that I've never been. You know, I've never been consistently, and I've never hit these places. And I think some of that's also got to attribute that to my age. I'm going to be 57 on Saturday.
Oh,
yeah?
shit.
Yeah, and so there's some wisdom. There's enough. There's some some of it's straight up just banging your head enough times you don't want to. There's some of it's just you're exhausted. Some of it is you just don't want to run the risk anymore. You know, so there's a piece of that. And when you start mixing the recovery with that, it has a way to laminate in a little different, you know? Yeah, man. So it's just a different brand. I'm still working. I'm not done. I have a lot of stuff I want to do. But you know, my grandson, the relationship we have, when my grandson, as soon as he runs to me, wants my hand, he wants to spend the night at my house. My kids weren't that close with me, bro, because my grandson, since the day he's born, he knows his grandpa always being there with his head on, showing up, always on, consistent guy, same guy, solid, right?
Yeah.
And he trusts me.
Yeah.
My kids were getting the guy that was in and out loaded, going to prison with Joe. So I didn't have that. So me having a grandson, he looks just like my son. This relationship with him, I've gotten to have that feeling. It's almost like as a grandfather, I got a second chance.
Start over.
Yeah. It's been a real gift, you know. And I think the man that I am in a relationship with a woman I love, Monique, I'm getting to show up in a way that I was never able to show up before. I just didn't want that. I was too selfish. I wanted the flesh. I wasn't real concerned with investing in a partner, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just me being honest, you know, and things change, bro. And, you know, I love this woman in a way that I've never loved somebody. I trust her. We're together. I have a partner. I wanted, you know, I started in my mid-50s wanting to know what it would be like to really lean in and do life with somebody. I want to have that experience. What's that like? Because it was all about me, selfish on my terms. That's how I lived, you know. And so that's different. You know,
and when you were sorry to cut you off.
You're not cutting off.
When you were talking about filling that hole, bro. First it was with dope and adrenaline, and then it was with adrenaline and money. Then you realized none of that was it. What were the biggest factors that filled that hole for you, bro? That completed all that. That completed that for you.
When I finally burned it all down and needed help 7 years ago, I called Wayne Garcia and I went to treatment.
Fucking Wayne.
He's like,
Wayne.
"You want a bus ticket?" I go, "No, I can get a bus ticket." He goes, we'll get up here. And he goes, and pack your bags because you're not coming up for no 30, 40, 90 days. You're going to stay here for a while. I'm like, all right, he's the VP of the whole shit. So in that treatment center, they had me spend 6 months in residential. It's a state. It's not like some beautiful, it's not that. And half of everybody were ex-lifers coming in. It was that type of place. But I was grateful. I don't need that. Like, I was happy with a cot and a meal.
Yeah.
And we were going to class every day. But in that, they assigned me a therapist to work with me twice a week. For that 6 months, I got to see somebody twice a week. And I trusted this guy, and I knew that there were some secrets. I knew that there were some things that even through my steps and even through early recovery, I wasn't ready to give up. There were some things that I needed to get honest about, and I needed to talk about. And I remember when I built up enough courage to say some things to this therapist that stays between us. I remember I went in there and I just fucking was like an outer body experience, bro. It was like I was standing outside myself and these words were coming out. And this dude didn't pick up the phone and call the police. He didn't throw me out the fucking window. He got up and he gave me a hug and he goes, man, there's nothing wrong with you, bro. You're just a human being. And that...
You never told that stuff to anybody else?
No,
wow.
No.
You needed to get it out.
Yeah, and it really like changed some things. I think that opened up. I think that honesty opened up some stuff for me to receive other things. It just changed my perception, that experience. I felt a little bit closer to maybe God and closer to mankind or closer to myself,
Yeah, bro.
But the power of honesty. And the first people that we're dishonest with are ourselves, man. It's us. I lie to me before I lie to anybody else, bro.
We have to.
Have to.
Have to.
And I don't know, like something about the honesty, putting your hand out. I don't know, Jerry. But I don't know, man. But in that house, I really got to do some work. I got to reapproach the steps, and really see my part. See what the way I do things, my character defect stuff, the way I come at life in relationships. That
you were finally 100% completely honest, right? Was that the first time? It sounds like it was the first time you're 100% like just completely honest
on all these things. Yeah. Right.
You were always honest on certain things, but then that was the
picking
time
and choosing
when you were like this time, and you even opened up to someone.
I think the veil came down.
Yeah.
The veil came down. So I start looking all around, and it's like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
I got some things to do,
Yeah.
Like I've been living a fucking story, like in aspects of my life. And the crazy thing is that you can just fall into that and not even, and then you fucking wake up and you're like, well, how the hell did I get here? Like that's why being conscious, being awake, being present, yeah, man, it's yeah. I mean, I feel like I've been fortunate in some things. I've been fortunate in business. I worked hard, made a good name for myself, and it's come back to help me throughout.
You're still working with big brands, huge brands. How do you balance that with your grandson, your kids, your lady? You take Sundays off for sure, right?
Oh yeah. The weekends I kind of shut it down on the weekends the best I can.
Yeah.
I had to say, Jerry, like I have to say that I like the most important fucking things in my life are like my health and my kids and my family. Like that's paramount. Now I don't get to have those things if I'm not taking care of myself, right? Going to meetings, doing stuff. So those things are the most important things today. And yes, I love creating. I have a lot of different projects going on, and I want to accomplish. I'm going to accomplish some things I've always wanted to do, but those things fit around the most important things, opposed to me trying to fit the important things around my gains for success in business or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
I can't fit my family and my recovery around that. I need to fit that around my family and my recovery.
100%,
You know?
bro.
And I think that, you know, when I'm healthy, you know, it is my recovery, my family, then it's my business, you know? And it only takes me a split second to go like that. If I'm not, you know, that's how fast that happens. And I think I can find the time because I know what my priorities are.
Yeah.
So I can make the time. It's like you saying, how do you find time to work out? When somebody tells me I don't have any time to work out, it's just unimportant. It's not a priority. It's not important to you. Because once it is, the time's right there.
Every time you can make 5-10 minutes, work something out quick, a couple times a day.
Yeah,
Come
right.
on.
Yeah, there's time. It's just a matter of when it becomes important.
100%.
And I also believe, you know, like, you know, people are gonna get there when they get there, man. Like, I sometimes have to remind myself, you know, how do they say it? Like, people talk about, like, I need to stand in the light, or let me shine, and it'll be attraction rather than promotion, right?
Yeah.
And when they're ready, they're gonna have a reference, and it's happened to me. I mean, the guys I tried to pull off the couch to get them sober, bro. But there's guys that came to me, a phone call out of the blue, some guy that maybe worked. Hey, I know you're sober, bro, and I've been watching you, and I want, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And you've gotten all those calls, bro. You know?
Yeah.
So I need to be doing what I'm doing. I need to pay attention to where my feet are.
That's how you're gonna be able to help more people too.
That's it. Dude, this, first off, what you have didn't come by accident. Mm-mm. And I'm talking about, like, with we were talking about with the podcast, like you, Jerry, the people who have engagement, follow you, watch you. You know, that didn't happen just by accident, bro. Mm-mm. You wanted it, and you saw that, and you began to build that, and somehow that became the vision, you know, and I don't think it's all by accident. And with that, it's like, I don't know, dude. It's not by accident. There's also not a lot of guys like that are able, that are like, there's just not, man. That's a very, and you're in on it with everything else, you know?
Yeah.
And I just, I don't know, man. I think it's definitely, you know, like, I don't know, dude, helping people, bro. Just helping people. Like, that just makes all the sense in the world.
There's nothing
like,
better.
right?
There's nothing better. I get depressed if I'm not helping somebody else,
dude. It's just
if I start feeling depressed, then I'm like, okay, I'm being fucking selfish. I'm worried about me.
Yeah.
Well, I need to take care of me, but if I start getting selfish, or if I start getting depressed, or I start getting anxious, I'm just worried about my fucking self. When I'm helping other people, I ain't worried about me. And I feel great. And I feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
100%, bro.
I think learning that, and learning how to take care of yourself, you know, learning how to... How
do you take care of yourself? Because, hey, for 57 and all this shit you've done, you look good, huh?
Well, thanks, bro. I'm trying to get some nice teeth in, but look good, right?
I'm working on mine, too.
Yeah, we're getting it. Yeah, I think that when I was younger, I think the phone never went off. I wasn't present, even when I thought I wasn't present. I'm fucking on business text and all, you know. And I don't want to be that man anymore. You know, like, things are different. And I trust that my life has unfolded enough, despite my reckless driving, enough to that I trust my Creator. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm okay with what's going to happen.
100%, yeah.
Now, so that removes, like, this big desperation to, like, get after someone. Like, that's no longer there. Like, I'm already living the dream, bro. I've already got the cake. Some other things are just some icing, but I have the cake, dude, which is like my health, something I love about my family. I get to get up every day. I have a roof over my head. I'm not struggling. I get to help people. I'm, you know, like, all these. That's the meat. yeah, do I want to produce my own docu-series and film? Yeah, I'm working on right now, dude. I'm working on fucking a couple big pitch projects right now.
Oh shit!
And I'm gonna do that.
Oh yeah.
And everything that comes from that. But I'm still developing my brand. There's things I want to do, but it's not this like. I know that that's not what I was. I don't want to say it in the wrong way. It's like that's part of my life, and I'm gonna explore and I'm gonna create because I think we're here to create. You know, you get a vision and you create it. But however it's gonna unfold and whatever it looks like, one thing I know for sure is it's probably not gonna go down the way I think it's gonna go down. That's been shown to me. The other thing is, however, I'm having a great time doing it. It's not the rewards that those seem to come if you do the work, but it's not that. It's like the process. It's the process of it. I'm having a great time doing it. I'm not worried about the outcome of it. I'm showing up and doing it, having fun with it, and experimenting and trying new things, and so I think that mindset helps me to put my priorities and keep them in place. You know, I eat all organic. Oh,
good.
Everything I eat is organic. I mean, everything. I mean, like, I'll drink one of these.
Yeah.
But my meat's all organic. My vegetables, my fruits, I only do organic. I was down for 11 months with the shoulder replacement, but I'm in the gym every day. I don't even like taking days off. I like going in. I feel good every day.
What do you do for your mind?
When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I stretch out on the floor. Then I have a couple different inspirational books, spiritual books, some Eastern philosophy, some conversations with God. Like I have like 3 or 4 books right there, and I'll grab a different one, or I'll go through one that's on a daily for a little while. Yeah, I'll read, and then I'll close it up and I'll meditate, and I meditate every single day, bro.
How do you meditate?
It's Yogananda Parahansu, who started the center in Palisades. It's just Eastern yogi meditation. With my hands, I sit clearly, and I focus on my breathing. You know, I focus on my breathing. There's a third eye here. Yeah. That's kind of projecting up. Yeah. And I close and I just focus on my breathing. In through my mouth. Out
How long
did
it take you after you started meditating to notice? Because a lot of people will say, I can't meditate. Mm-hmm. And everybody quits after 2 or 3 days. How long did it take you to get results and notice, oh, this actually does work?
Well, first off, I think you're right. People give up or, I tried meditation and it happened. First off, it definitely took... I would tell you this. I would tell anybody, if you actually do it and you put 10 to 15 minutes in a day for 30 days, mm-hmm. you're going to experience, your life's going to change. Mm-hmm. But you've never given it that, you know?
Or you'll do one day on, one day off. But when you're consistent, it's not right away. But then after a while, it's just one day you're like, oh shit, this does work.
It does, dude.
But nobody gives it that time.
It's the magic. It's some of the magic that's here is in meditation. Mm-hmm. I tell people, the biggest gift meditation gives me, it allows me to step out of myself and I can examine my life and myself from outside of myself.
100%.
I don't know how that happens. Yeah. But that's what it's done. It's giving me like a perspective where I can get out of me and see what I'm doing, and then I can be like, I don't want to do that anymore.
In the moments too.
In the moments too. Oh, it does.
You can assess moments a lot better.
You can pause.
Well, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. And that's like my early morning quiet time. Yeah. And let me say like this. There might be 1 or 2 days out of the month where I'm out the door for some particular reason. I'll either come back or be somewhere, and I'll get my meditation in within the next couple hours, even if it's in the car. Yeah. But I meditate every day, and then I'm off to the gym. I'm a guy that needs a routine. I need a routine. I like my routine. I like to start early in the morning, and when no one else is up, the morning times, the quiet time, this is my time, bro. It's the most valuable time to me at all. You know, that's when I have my own time. And what that meditation has allowed me to do, I think, at points in time, is kind of what working out allows me to do. And that's that I don't meditate long. I'll meditate between 10 and 15 minutes. That's my meditation.
Yeah.
And I'll say a prayer at the end and I'm off on my way. But going to the gym, I have my workouts are down to like 55 minutes, like on the dot, and that's with the stretching and doing whatever I be doing. And I don't stop in that. I like a fast paced, super setting.
I'm the same way,
thing.
yeah.
I'm dripping when I come out. But in that 55 minutes, bro, that's really, really important to me because yes, I do this not only for the physical, but for the mental, bro. For that 55 minutes, the only thing I'm thinking about is the task at hand. I've got the flat bench, my rows, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna pull it, and for me to be in there for 55 minutes and do that, I've gotten a break from it all for 55 minutes. Like the weight of this world that can be very sometimes bearing on us,
and a
especially
release
when you have a big and when you have a big life, dude, a lot of people watching you. You say what you do. You're keeping your word. You got like this sometimes and with social media it can sometimes it's a lot. For me at least it's a lot, and I need to have that time. I need to have that break from all that. So that and the meditation and that reading, my morning routine, I attribute my fucking my emotional sobriety to that. I attribute my emotional. Well, that's great. You don't drink alcohol and drugs, but I know people that don't do alcohol and drugs are fucking going off.
And with nice bodies too.
Oh yeah,
going crazy.
Going crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think for my mental well-being, like that just allows me to get right and get centered. I find gratitude. My sponsor tells me all the time. He's like, the biggest tool set is gratitude. If you can find gratitude, you can get through the next moment. You can find gratitude. And, when guys like us are looking more at what we don't have than what we have, and we can't do it, like that's already a bad place to go. If I can stabilize in the morning early on in a book that reflects a little, okay, how that apply to me? Yeah, that's true, okay. And then I kind of, I have my meditation. I usually just feel a little more clear out of meditation. And the first thing I think about is my life. I my kids. I'm grateful. Thank you, God, for my kids. Family, for this opportunity, for my health. For this. And by the time I get up and I'm heading to the gym, I'm in gratitude walking to the car saying, I'm just grateful that I'm healthy and my body. And I get to go and exercise right now, And
as soon as I wake up, bro, as soon as my eyes open, I'm like, man, a lot of people didn't open their eyes today. Because they're either dead or some people that are still here, they're blind. And then as soon as my feet touch the floor, I'm like, a lot of people got their feet cut off, legs cut off recently, or were born with no legs. So I'm instantly just aware of everything going on. How can I not be grateful? Can walk to the bathroom. Some people got legs, but they can't even walk. They don't work. So it's like, well, you just start realizing, and then you brush your teeth. Man, I got a lot of fake teeth, but I got some motherfuckers in there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro.
And it's like a lot to be grateful for, bro,
It's kind of like, life's kind of like, in a way, like being in the gym, like, you look to your right, and you're like, damn, I'm over some 19s, or, like, damn, dude, that dude's, and you look to your left, there's some guy that's struggling. And he's looking at you like you're Mr. Unit, right?
Yeah, 400 pounder.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all how you want to, like,
perspective.
That's all there, perspective. But I think gratitude's been lost. I think, and when you have gratitude, I've always been a decent person in business,
Yeah.
To me, doing what you say, saying what you do, giving your word, not burning people, like that's important shit to me, man. I have friends that have been my friends for 40 years, 45 years, bro. Like, my intersect of guys, bro, have been my guys for a long time, and I pride myself on that. And, man, I through business, that's how I am too, man. And when I'm grateful for my job, I treat people. I'm grateful to have the opportunities. I'm grateful to be able to spread some opportunities and do some cool things for people and create different brands and the stuff that we do and advertising, marketing plays and collaborations and I'm grateful for that. And so I go out there and I treat people well. I treat people that I work with, my coworkers, other brands. Like,
You work with Burner, right?
Yeah.
How is that? How long you been working with him?
Almost
And how did that
5 years.
happen?
Almost 5 years. You know, their creative director, I hired him at Young and Reckless. Then years later, he's at Cookies.
Oh, you hired him at Young and Reckless?
Young and Reckless.
Oh, wow.
He was at LRG, yeah. John Alter, shout out to Alter. He's an amazing designer. He's a creative head. So everything you see from Cookies came by him.
Yeah, okay.
He's the one that Burner's like, I'm going to give you the vision you exit. Like,
oh, wow.
you know, like,
yeah.
And Alter's created everything you see Cookies. He's great. He's that guy. So, he's also a good friend of mine, you know, who has his act together. And he saw me throw it away. He saw me, and he always talked with me. And then he saw me getting clean. Then he saw me managing this thing. And he's starting to watch me with my dog. And finally, he's like, "Hey, bro, you know, you're in a really good place.
Yeah.
I can see it. You know, when you're in a good place, bro, there's nobody like you, dude. And we got to get you on the team." I'm like, "All right, let's go, bro." And so
wow.
he sent me, and me and Burner had some conversations. Burner knew my whole career, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, we talked. He wanted to step on to shoot some stuff, so I lined that up. And after a few days of us engaging, he was like, "Bro, I got to get you on the team over here with us." And I was like, "I want to be. It's a winning team." And so that happened about 5 years ago. And, you know, he's a good dude, bro. He's a great dude. He's a good man. He's taking good care of me. He takes care of his people. He keeps his word. He's a family man. He's a good son to his father. Like, he's just an all-around good human being. He's a good motherfucker.
Yeah.
I love working for him. And I do the right thing by him, for him, with that brand, because it's as if I own it. It's as if I, you know, like, I don't go for any funny shit, bro. I protect that brand like it was mine because I respect that man and the position that he's put me in and the opportunity he's given me. And he supports the things I do. You know, he supports Supermax. I had that going when I came to Cookies. And, you know, they know that me and Esteban are building media storytelling, you know, content that we're taking to.
He's a photographer, right?
Right, and a director.
Wow. Oh, wow.
He's my right-hand man. That's been my best friend since we were 19.
Wow,
We
that's
built
like
Joker
he's like the
and-
most famous photographer, like one of the most famous photographers in the world, right?
Oh yeah, he's
I've
big up
seen
there.
he's got did the LA hand.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's directed some big stuff, and he's really coming to his place. And we've always wanted to. I've had stories that I wanted to tell forever. But
Yeah.
I need my partner to shoot it. So
Yeah.
you know, I've created a couple things, and you're going to hear more about it. You know,
Yeah,
but
I'm
we're dealing
excited.
with it. But those. You know, there's and they support me just like I support everything Burn does. He supports what I do, and we're building together. And so they've been really, really good to me, and I love being over there. It's a great team of people, and yeah, man. I mean,
So what would someone starting a brand right now, like me, I'm starting my clothing. I got my shirts and stuff.
Uh-huh.
What would be like a blueprint for someone that's growing a brand?
I would say, you know, if there's a vision for your brand,
Yeah.
and you have that vision, and you see it, you can see that,
Yeah.
and you believe in it, then you just can't stop. You gotta stick to your vision.
What are the main tools? Social media.
I think now, if you don't have social media, you're missing a big piece.
You're
of
getting
the pie.
nowhere, right?
No. Yeah, it's part of it now. you
Yeah.
know?
There's big brands that have fallen off for not using social media, right?
Right. Yeah. And once you kind of get into the digital world, it really doesn't stop. At the rate and pace that you want to produce content is kind of up to you, but that can be overwhelming because you go hard, you got to keep on going hard. You got to keep on. So I think people need to find out their own pace, get on their own pace. Don't let society rush you.
Yeah.
Get on a pace that
Well, a
you
lot of
can
people
actually-
see big brands like Cookies. They'll see that and they'll be like, fuck. But they could build some big things, but they just like look at that and they're like kind of, I don't know. Maybe that's just for them. But people
No,
could do
it's
it, right?
not. Yeah.
I mean, Burner,
yeah.
he came from the city. He was
Yeah,
in
he
the
came
city.
from
Another
nothing,
one
I mean.
came like, oh, we see that what he's doing. Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
And a lot of these dudes that built big brands they didn't come from that, you know? Like,
Yeah.
staying true to that, I think, that vision. Like, listen, man, if I haven't chased brands for money,
Yeah.
ever. I've said no to a lot of brands because I just didn't see it. I couldn't see it. Not to say that I'm the guy that knows everything, but if I see it, if I can see that brand, then I'll roll with it. I used to have people that tell me, "Hey, Lucky, I had guys try to hand me 10 or 20 grand in the envelope, bro. Just get my brand into Pacific Sunwear or Zoomies or." Because I have those relationships. Mm-hmm. And I look at them and be like, dude, I can't. That's not me. They're like, you can sell anything. I go, no, I can't sell anything. I've never sold anything in my life, to be honest with you. There's things that I believe in and see. Mm-hmm. And I take them to some people and I share with them.
Yeah.
I share with them what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
They won't go, I love this. We want to put it in all the stores and let's do this.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
yeah.
I go, but if I started taking money, the first thing that's going to happen is I put in something I don't believe just for some money. Now, when that shit fails, they're not going to call me. They're not going to answer that phone to take Lucky's brands. So far my record's clean. Every time I bring a brand in, it's a home run.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I call and I'm like, hey, they're like, what do you got, Lucky?
Always solid.
So if I ever do that, and the other thing is, if I don't see the vision, if I don't believe in I don't have anything to say about it. I'm not a salesman. I'm not like a pitch dude. Like, even like, I created a True Life docuseries, bro. And we had a pitch with a pretty big network. And we were going in, and as we were setting up, I'm the guy that's speaking. Like, Esteban's in there. He's the director. His name brings that. This guy does that. But I'm the guy that's talking, and I created the show, right? But when we were going, everybody was, okay, all right, how do you feel? And I go, bro, there's not a question that I can't answer, dude. I created this fucking thing. I know this thing inside out. Yeah,
yeah.
I believe in the vision like that. That's why I know it's going to happen. I see it unfolding. And all those brands that I jumped on, when I looked at Famous, and I was like, I saw a vision. With the hundreds, I was like, I can see this. With Young and Reckless, I was like, okay, that we can do. He'll figure it. Like, I seen it. And if I don't see it, if that button doesn't go off, please don't take it disrespectfully. I just don't see it. And if I don't see it, I'm not going to get involved. I say all that, Jerry, to say, if you see the vision and it really is that, and that's what you're accomplishing, then stick on that vision and execute it. If you're doing this thing as a means to get money, I want it to be, bro, if that's what you think's going to make you happy, nothing's going to make you happy. Good luck. Good luck,
That's what a lot of
really.
people are doing. A lot of people are on that, right?
A lot of people. And you can see right through the brand.
You
and they
can
don't
feel it.
work.
You
Yeah,
can feel
dude.
it.
You can feel it.
They can say all they want, but we can all feel it. You can all, energy doesn't lie.
No. All that shit. That's real, Jerry. Some
Yeah.
people don't want to take a look at that. It's the truth.
Yeah.
The reason you love cookies is because it's a true lifestyle. It's burner.
Yeah.
It's the big dude that trapped bud and made good.
yeah.
You like that story because that's a real fucking story.
Yeah.
That's a true
The brand
lifestyle
has to have a
brand.
story behind
has
it,
to
right?
it has to be a true lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's either a true lifestyle or it's not. And when it is, that's why it affects people differently.
And the
That's
harder
when-
the story, the better, right?
Yeah, brother.
Like, look at your story. I mean, your story, the harder the better, man. The
shit.
stronger the brand's going to be. The stronger the person's going to be.
I definitely trust in if I see that thing. I trust it. I didn't know that when I was younger.
Yeah.
But after I had done it twice, I was like, okay. And as things started coming to me, I was getting like either a vision of it panning out or there was no vision.
Yeah.
And when there's no vision, I just say no.
Yeah.
And I trust that instinct now. And I just think what it is I either see something that's real or it's not. This is a money play.
Uh-huh.
They just pasted this shit together because they want money. They think
That's never going to last.
It's not, dude. Like,
In anything.
And true lifestyle brands, you guys, they don't happen overnight. Doesn't happen. None of this happened overnight. Not what you built doesn't happen. It happens through consistency. Changing your body consistently. Slow. And then other people see it usually before you can. But it it just takes time, bro. It just takes time. And there's no way around it. There's no way really around the hard work. I think people put too much on like these, like, I don't know, somebody goes viral with a TikTok thing and they're making all sorts of money.
With that microwave shit. They want that quick.
Yeah, like
it ain't gonna be solid.
No, it's not gonna last.
Be solid.
No, it doesn't have all the pieces to withstand or sustain because that was never built or the foundation.
I was happy that I didn't get any viral videos till after I had built a good following. I was happy because I didn't want to be just known for one video.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen that with people. They'll get, and the people just know them for that.
Right.
And a lot of times some dumb shit. And I'm like, because I posted some dumb shit before. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm like, oh, time, solid, the consistency.
I mean, you reflected though, man. I mean, Jerry, I haven't known you that long, Jerry, and I've watched your content begin to start look like more professional. Like some shit, I'm like, damn. I've seen your artwork, your tattoos. I've seen it elevate. But I also say to myself, he's on it every fucking day. He's on it every day. It's just that. I mean, I think inspiration and motivation's great, but when you have the fortitude to consistently do this thing, that's when things change.
Not miss any day.
That's when things
if
change.
That's the plan.
Right, if that's the plan.
If that's the plan.
And you can't not. Things can't not change. If you are, and I think it's that fast reaction, quick, instant gratification, like, but that too, bro, if it's in you, if that vision's in your head, if it's really there,
100%.
Then you're not going to give up on it.
100%. Well, it's like this right here, bro. Like this conversation that we're having, I had to build the person that could have this conversation with you, just like you've built this person here. If you would have talked to me 10, 15 years ago, I would have fucked this all off.
Me too.
I would have fucked it off bad. So I had to build that. It's not like, how can I just speak to this guy? No, who can I build that's going to be able to speak to this man and understand how to communicate well with him? Can't learn that overnight. Fuck that.
No.
I have to build that and learn it and learn what not to do all the time and get better at it. And I'm learning right now, you know?
I think so many people get caught up on this whole wisdom thing. I feel like the wisdom is just the byproduct of banging your head and fucking shit up. Bro. That's how you get older, and that's what wisdom is.
Yeah.
That's like, know what not to do,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I get excited when I fuck some shit up. now I'm learning a little bit, you know what I mean?
You know what's interesting, though, too, is that, because if you've done work and you've had to go through shit to get to a place, right? And you're on your way, whatever it might be. You know your history, right? You know what you know the type of shit. When you start hearing somebody talk, right?
Yeah.
You could pick up within the first few seconds, oh, this dude here.
Know.
Do I listen a little bit? Oh, wait a minute. And I think maybe like 2 or 3 times I liked what you had to say, but as I started listening to you, 2 or 3 times into what you're saying, maybe the tone, the delivery, how you were bringing it, I was like, this dude been through some shit.
Uh-huh.
This dude might be an ex-alcoholic or addict too.
Yeah.
I didn't know right away.
You could feel it.
Right? And like you didn't even get to the story. You tapped on a few things with your mom.
Yeah.
And I knew before you started really talking about your mom, I go, okay, there's some things here, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, this guy's probably had a real colorful lot of crazy shit go on, you know, and I started putting the pieces together, but you recognize game.
Real recognize real, baby.
Right. And when somebody says some shit, and sometimes people say some stuff, and that shit hits you in between the ribs, it's because it's the truth, you know? And you say a lot of stuff, bro. Like, you've said so many good things. I reposted, but my whole thing, bro, my main thing is what kind of like, you know, you can say you're all this. I'm going to talk to your kids. And I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to find out who you are, right?
Yeah. 100%.
I'm going to really find out who you are, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what ultimately, like, that's the most important, yes, my recovery is the most, but the relationships and relationship with God. But I'm saying outside of that, bro, the most important thing is my kids and my grandson. What my kids, how am I showing? I brought them into this world, bro. That's my responsibility. How if I don't care what you think, what my kids think of me.
Yeah.
You know, and the type of man I am with my kids, and my kids want to see me, dude. They don't miss a weekend. They're on my. I'm not pulling my kids. My kids aren't putting up with me.
Yeah.
My kids aren't putting up with me, dude.
A lot of kids are putting up with parents. Bro.
I know it, bro. I know, and I just like I never want.
And your kids are admiring you and want you to. They want to be around you.
They want to be.
How
around
does that
me.
feel?
It's the best, the best, the best. I respect my kids as people.
Yeah.
They're not just my kids. Like I'd want to hang with my fucking son if I didn't know him.
Yeah,
like the dude's the coolest guy.
That sounds dope.
My daughter, like I love and the fact they want to see me, that lets me know that I'm being loving, that I'm being caring, that I'm being a safe place. That
You're doing the right thing.
Things that my kids want to be with me, you know, and
Yeah,
I want to be with them, and so that's my, you know, that's really, you know, and who am I being in and out of the rooms, right?
Yeah.
With our kind,
yeah,
you know, those two things, dude. Like that's really what's important, man, to me, and I could sense a lot of that in you, Jerry.
Thank you, bro.
A lot of all my close people that surround me, are all of the same way, dude. I want to help people, bro. I don't hate on people, man. I want to do my part. I believe in loving on people. I believe on showing up for your family and your kids, and I enjoy being a grandfather, and hopefully I'll get to be a grandfather a few more times. And my relationship with my girlfriend, the relationship with my ex-wife, and how we all intermingle together, that's my family. That's the people that know me best, man. Like, if I'm solid with them, I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, of course, 100%.
You know, man, and just, you know, there were people there for me that showed me how to do this, that walked me through, that answer my phone calls, that are there when things are rough, when it's not all pretty.
What do you feel like your purpose is here, bro?
I think I was brought through a challenging, difficult set of circumstances through my life in order to be able to relate to people who are in that place, are going through that, or had that experience. I think that when I walk into a room for those people, I can be a messenger. I feel like that. I feel like when I go to speak to youth, I'm received really well. I think kids are able to really quickly, you know.
They can tell you ain't bullshitting.
Right.
They can feel you real.
I mean, you know, I have just strangers, drug addicts, alcoholics, people that come to me like, bro, you know, like they want me to help them, or they want to talk to me, or like, you know, and I feel like I look a certain way where there's certain people that are like, I can relate to that guy.
And he's going to understand me.
He can understand me.
Yeah.
And I think God designed my life and everything for me to be that. So I feel like I think that the way that I want to convey and intermingle with that is in multiple ways. I think the podcast is one. I think the TV show, which has a podcast tied to it, which has a literary tied to it. I think there's going to be storytelling, and there's a lot of things that I want to share with people that I've gathered that's going to change people's opinions about people like us. And that's going to come through media. That's going to come through literary. It's going to come through some podcast stuff. It's going to come through some photos. You know, it might even come through some product and some apparel.
Yeah,
but
for sure,
there's a story. There's stories that I'm going to convey that are going to open people's minds, and they're going to help spread the word about change, and about humanity, and about, about all of that, man. And some of the darker things that aren't really that dark when you pull the veil off of them.
What would you say your darkest time in life was, bro? Out of all those fucking times, which one was the darkest, bro?
I remember sitting in the hole in Corcoran at one point in time, and I had a little bit of tobacco.
Yeah.
So you're right. And my neighbor was in the hole too, and his name was Sirhan Sirhan. Do you know who Sirhan Sirhan is?
Who's that?
The guy that they accused shot Bobby Kennedy.
Oh, really?
He's in the hole.
Okay.
For some reason, and I had to hit him up for the lighter. He had a lighter, and I needed the lighter. And I was like, "I'll give you a little bit of tobacco. Give me." He's like, "All right." And I sat against that wall, smoking in my cell, and I thought, "How did a kid from West LA end up in Northern California prison next to fucking Sirhan Sirhan?" You know?
Yeah.
And it was a moment where I kind of like, thought, "Man, how did my life get to here?" It was dark. That was a dark time, you know, within there being, you know, in that place, far tucked away. The darkest place, bro, is really my son, not knowing if my son was going to live or die, being scared, because I know he was using like I do.
Yeah.
And my daughter not speaking to me.
Would you say that one of the...
And those two things being on simultaneously.
Yeah.
And me struggling.
Yeah.
And like the fear of me dying. And who knows what happens to my son.
Who knows what
and
happens.
my daughter was not going to happen to me. Like the worst thing that I could imagine happening. Like that. Like being on that border, that edge of like all that being at stake. And not knowing how to fix it all, and not being able to fix it all. Like somehow just staying on track and trying to fix myself and hope that things would.
And then would you say that one of the biggest times of light in your life was when your daughter sent you that message?
Oh. When my daughter sent me, it was one of the greatest days of my life of her letting me back in. And
did she say that she was thinking about it?
Oh, dude, we sat and talked it all out. She took her a long time to write the letter. She was working on the letter, When we finally got together, it was great. And just we started from there. I think seeing my son really, really, really get into his recovery of who he is, what he's come through, and where he's going. And seeing my daughter, like, those two things right now are like, that. Once my son really started making the decisions to, like, really do this and let him become the man he is, then I saw that and see that. And then with my daughter kind of letting me back in, yeah, it's about them, dude. They're my kids, bro. They're my legacy. Yeah, man, I mean, like, that's what I produced here.
Yeah.
And one day I'm not going to be here. And what did I leave? The fact that they're contributing. So, yeah, those are like my high ones. And I love we've had some great stuff with apparel and those are great celebratory wins. But, yeah, those are the big ones, dude,
What would you tell someone that's like 20 years old, lost, in and out of jail, maybe hooked on drugs, can't figure it out? What would you tell your 20-year-old self in that point?
Ask for help. If you're questioning if it's a problem, you can forget about it. It's already a problem.
It's definitely a problem.
Because people that don't question it, there's usually not. Right?
Yeah.
You don't got to tell everybody your shit, but you got to tell somebody your shit, And
what about that person that keeps going back, that keeps saying, I'm going to stop, and they stop, and they get back on it and back on it? What would you say would be the best way for them to stop?
Do some things differently. You might have to do some things differently. A new life is going to cost you your old one. A new life, the new life you want, is going to cost you your old one. So really let that sink in, God damn, Jerry, how many people didn't get to come back? It gets scary. I say come back, keep coming back. We need you here, and but stay. A
lot of people don't realize. We were talking about that earlier. Like, we went to a cemetery earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many of these people didn't realize? Like, and how many of us don't realize what this is? I'm over here fucking it off in dope and alcohol and all this shit, and there's these people, whether they realize it or not, who knows? But why don't we? Why the fuck don't some of us? Every single day and every moment, we're dying. No. But so many people never take that chance to live. They're trying to escape the life that they have in drugs. Instead of realizing, when you realize what this is, you don't want that shit.
Yes.
It took me to realize, I'm sure you too, once I realized, whoa, this is a gift. Why the fuck would I fuck it off? But it takes a time. Why does it take us so long for that to click the fuck in?
For some of us, man, I think it has to do with the traumas of our life.
Yeah.
and it is a gift, man. And I'm too, bro. I'm at a place where my parents have been gone a while. They passed on, but I'm seeing people, where you grow up and they're like 10 years ahead of you. That people around me, my age, and I'm like, I could drop. Listen, bro, I could not make it home tonight. That's a real possibility. I could fucking have a heart attack right here. Stuff I've done to my body.
Yeah,
I crashed.
That would kill the vibe, man.
Yeah, right. That would, yeah. Then the video really begins to views. So if that's the case, and that is the case because I've been showing that enough to know that that's real. If and when that comes, when that time is, 30, 40 years from now, I don't want to go out on some, I was trying to get there, like, did that my whole life, like.
But I kept putting it off.
Right, like.
Kept fucking it off.
Yeah, bro, and even the mindset of getting to where you're at today, like being able to get okay with what you have, seeing all that you have. Because if I get zapped out tomorrow, I'm not like I'm doing what I want with my life today.
Yeah,
I'm present. I'm fucking seeing my grandkids. I'm building this brand. I'm doing the things I want. Not tripping off of how it plays out later. I'm in the meat of it, Got this great life. Like, you're not going to get to some place where you start where you like all of a sudden you're going to like appreciate your life and see the value in it. You either get there, you either start living like that.
Yeah.
That's not a destination. Happiness, if happiness is a destination, and it was for me, then I'm in trouble.
You're like a perfect example for that. Because you realize that shit, that it ain't a destination.
No, it's in.
Because a lot of people would think that when they see how your life was when you got that famous Stars and Straps thing, that, oh, that's it. You should be happy. Everything should be perfect. You're a perfect example, bro. I love it.
I really believe in like what we're talking about with the gratitude, with the gift that this is, bro. And if I don't like the way something feels, I have the ability to change it. 100%. I still have a choice. 100%. I can change it, and I get into those things. or I'm chewing on something that doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, well, I don't choose to have that.
Yeah.
I don't want my time to come. And I hate to keep on saying, oh, when I die or when time goes, but I don't want to get caught up in not talking to somebody because they were arguing or I'm wrestling with this thing. And then I don't want to go out like that, dude. Like, you know, so how I'm crafting my life, yeah, we go through our ups and we have our days, yes.
Yeah.
But on the majority of it, I'm grateful to be here, bro. I'm grateful to be sucking air with the bullshit I pulled. If life was fair, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So, I have a great fucking life, man. There's people that have it really rough things going on in their lives, man. There's people that don't have any of the opportunities we have in this country. There's just so many things I could name off, dude. I could sit here and give you a list of all the shit. And I just need to remember a few of those to bring me back into that zone. Being asked to come out and sit with you, to come out here today, this is a gift, man. We met each other on social media. You inspired me. I enjoy talking to you. I feel like you're a friend of mine now for life.
100%.
You're on the same page. You know, I get on that. You know, I can't. Bunch of fucking complaining and unmotivated and crying and like, I'm not about that, man. I mean, I just like, all right, what's the solution?
And men need to have more conversations like this, but not to whine. If there's a problem, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's figure out a solution. If we ain't gonna figure out a solution, and you're gonna say the same shit next time, then fuck off.
That's
Let's
right,
figure out a
man.
solution. I want to hear if you're going through a problem, and let's figure out how to get it better. That's what we were talking about earlier. We should talk about it. If you're going through some shit, tell me. But if you want to talk about just the whine, then go fuck off.
Right, bro.
Because I don't want to hear that shit. Because
No.
you're gonna make me dumber, and you're gonna kill my time and my energy.
Right.
But if we can find a solution, please hit me up. Please.
I'm at when we're even in like work things. People will, be on a group call or Zoom, and, oh well, this thing, and I'm like, I don't want to hear about how it went. I don't want to hear who that. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
What's the solution? Let's get in the solution. What's the solution? Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 seconds or 2 minutes for the story.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Okay. Now, okay, what do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to. I'll give you a few minutes together, but I don't want to talk about the story. The story ain't doing nothing.
Get to the point.
What are we doing?
Yeah, get to the point.
And what do you want to
yeah.
do? And let's take an action, because all the rest of it's just talk.
100%.
What am I gonna do when I get up from this table? And the more that I get after it, the more motivated I am. The more, the more I work out, the better I feel. The more I want to get up the next morning and work out. The cleaner I eat, the more I want to eat clean. The more I let down my guard and become, what's that word?
Open?
It's open, but where you let your guard down. Vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
The more I practice vulnerability with my kids or with my girl, the easier it is for me to be vulnerable. It's all about showing up and
you're more authentic
exercising
as
these
well.
things. Absolutely, bro.
People don't know how to be authentic. They say that's the newest, highest frequency.
Authenticity.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I got one last question. What is success for you, bro? What does success mean to you?
You know what, man? I think that today, what success means to me is the people that I love the most, or that maybe love me the most or love the most, what they have to say about me while I'm here, and what they'll have to say about me when I'm gone. The people, the real people,
Yeah.
my kids, the people that were with me, that know me.
Yeah.
And I think we've had some really honest conversations. I believe that my kids know that I'm gonna be there. I've been there throughout their lives for them, but there are times where I couldn't show up, and I was, you know what I'm saying? But being there for my kids and them knowing that, and knowing that I have their back, and that's really like for my kids to trust me. for my kids to trust me and love me is the biggest compliment, is the biggest thing that I'm after. That's all I ever wanted, you know.
I love it, bro. I love it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Seriously, thank you. So as you guys see, this is a man right here that leaves no excuse for whether you've been on dope, been to prison, had fucked up parenting, childhood, all like this. He leaves no excuse for any of that bullshit. Great man. He's doing great things. I love to see what he's doing with his kids, how he treats me and other people, and how he's taking care of himself for everybody else and serving other humans. Thank you, my brother. A pleasure going on.
The best.
Man.
Jerry,
Thank
you're the
you,
best,
bro.
brother.
You're the
Thank
best,
you.
my brother.
Thank you, my man.
Oh, man.